You wake in the morning and the world is already spinning. Notifications, schedules, ambitions, distractions. You feel the pulse of urgency before your feet even touch the ground. The modern world has trained us that motion equals meaning, that unless we are doing, striving, and achieving, we are somehow falling behind. But nature never rushes, and yet everything is accomplished. The cat knows this. The cat, in its stillness, teaches what so many of us have forgotten. Stillness is not passivity. It is a posture of strength, of readiness, and of deep, undisturbed awareness. Observe a cat sitting by a window. It may appear relaxed, perhaps even lazy. The body reclines, the eyes half closed, the tail occasionally flicking with no urgency. But look more closely. Beneath that apparent calm, there is an ever-present alertness. The ears tilt toward the slightest sound. The body is coiled in potential, not intention. The eyes, though resting, miss nothing. This is not a state of collapse. This is presence. This is readiness. This is control. In our haste to label everything, we often confuse stillness with stagnation and activity with purpose. But not all movement is meaningful, and not all quiet is idle. The cat does not chase every leaf. It does not bark at every shadow. It watches, it waits, it discerns. And when the moment is right, only then it moves. And when it moves, it does so with grace, economy, and power. There is no waste, no panic, no hesitation. This too is mastery. Illness is a form of internal discipline. It requires the strength to resist the pull of impulse, the gravity of distraction. It demands a mind that does not crave constant stimulation. In a world that rewards noise, stillness is rebellion, but it is also refuge. We forget that energy is finite. Every distraction drains. Every unchosen motion weakens. The cat conserves, refines, prepares. It does not confuse movement with progress. It does not mistake chaos for freedom. The Shaolin path speaks often of stillness, not as withdrawal from life, but as a way of engaging more deeply with it. Stillness is not about doing nothing. It is about doing the right thing at the right time and nothing more. It is about aligning intention with awareness. The cat demonstrates this beautifully. It teaches through its being, not its effort. It does not announce its power. It simply embodies it, and that is the deepest form of influence. Look again at the cat as it rests. Its breathing is steady. Its muscles are soft, but not disengaged. Its mind is attuned to the environment, even in what appears to be sleep. This is not lethargy. This is dynamic equilibrium. This is what in martial arts we call song relaxation, that is alive with potential, not limp but elastic, not collapsed but poised. That balance, that ability to be completely at ease and completely ready at the same time, is the hallmark of inner strength. Many of us fear stillness because in stillness we meet ourselves. When there is no task to perform, no message to reply to, no problem to fix, we are left with the raw material of our own being. And for some, that is uncomfortable. But the cat does not run from itself. It does not need entertainment to exist. It simply is, fully, calmly, This is why stillness is such a powerful force. It is not the absence of action. It is the ability to act from a place of clarity, not compulsion. It is the courage to wait, to pause, to listen, to notice. Most people react, few respond. The cat responds, and that is why it moves with such fluidity and focus. Think of a predator in the wild, the lion, the tiger, the leopard, and yes, the domestic cat. All predators. And yet, they do not spend their day running in circles. They conserve their energy. They remain grounded. They stalk with patience. Their success lies not in speed alone, but in timing. One strike, well placed, is more powerful than 100 scattered efforts. This is a lesson for every human being struggling to do more. Sometimes, doing less with full awareness accomplishes more than doing everything from a place of distraction. Consider the archer. The shot is not made in the moment of release, but in the stillness before, the focus, the breath, the alignment. Without stillness, there is no aim. Without stillness, there is no precision. The cat, too, is an archer of instinct. Every movement it makes is premeditated by a still mind. That is what gives it its elegance and effectiveness. In meditation, we train ourselves to sit still, not to escape life, but to see it clearly, to sharpen perception, to come back to the center. The cat is in meditation every moment it is not acting. It embodies the discipline of returning to zero, where nothing is wasted, nothing is forced. When you learn to access this quality within yourself, everything changes. Your thoughts become more spacious, your actions more deliberate, your emotions more stable. You become like the cat, not emotionally reactive, not panicked, not exhausted by doing too much of nothing important. Stillness is also about trust. Trust in timing, trust in life, trust in your own readiness. The cat does not overthink. It does not rehearse every outcome. It waits. It trusts its instinct. And when the time comes, it acts. The reason so many people struggle with overthinking is because they do not trust themselves. So they rush, they overcompensate. But the cat shows us that when the foundation is strong, there is no need to prove anything. Confidence radiates from those who move from stillness, not from anxiety. There is a quality in cats that humans envy, though they rarely name it. It is presence without apology. It is the way a cat enters a room without seeking approval. It does not try to entertain. It does not try to please. It simply exists fully in its own rhythm. And somehow that presence commands attention. This is not arrogance. It is self-possession, and it is born from stillness. When you are still, truly still, not just outwardly but inwardly, your energy gathers, your senses sharpen, your spirit expands. Stillness is the beginning of mastery in any field. In martial arts, we begin with form, with movement, but eventually we must return to stillness. The greatest fighter is the one who does not need to fight. The most powerful mind is the one that does not need to dominate. Stillness reveals your essence without distortion. But stillness is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires letting go of the need to be seen, letting go of the need to control, letting go of the constant urge to escape yourself. It requires you to slow down enough to feel what you've been avoiding, to face what you've been fleeing. This is why so few master stillness, but those who do become like the cat, undisturbed, unhurried, and utterly effective. In the pauses between action, in the silences between words, in the spaces between breaths, there is knowledge and power and presence. But you must be still enough to notice. The cat notices. It knows what others miss. It moves with the rhythm of life, not against it. And that is what gives it its mysterious charm. If you want to change your life, you do not need to add more. You need to subtract what does not matter. You need to stop scattering your attention. You need to return to your center. Like the cat, be calm, be aware, be ready. Let your stillness speak louder than your noise. Every action the cat takes is born from stillness. This is why it is graceful. This is why it is efficient. And this is why it is powerful. There is a common belief that cats are cold, that they are selfish creatures incapable of deep connection, that they do not feel the same warmth as other animals, or even as humans. But these beliefs arise not from truth, but from misunderstanding, from projection, from expecting the world to love us the way we have decided love must look. When it does not, we reject it. But rejection of what is not wisdom, it is blindness. And the cat exists to challenge our blindness. When you watch a cat, you notice something quickly. It is not needy. It does not follow you endlessly. It does not wag its tail to seek approval. It does not perform affection. This is not because it does not care. It is because it does not cling. There is a difference, and it is vast. The world has confused detachment with coldness. But in reality, detachment is a sign of inner stability. It is not that the cat does not love. It is that the cat does not beg. Most of us have been conditioned to associate love with attachment, with dependence, with the constant expression of affection. But expressions are not proof, and dependence is not love. It is need. The cat has no need to constantly prove its connection. It offers presence, not possession, attention, not attachment. And when it walks away, it is not rejecting you, it is honoring its own rhythm. This behavior unsettles people because they want reassurance, they want certainty, they want devotion in a form they recognize. But the cat offers a mirror, not a performance. And what you see in that mirror depends on you. If you are insecure, you may see rejection. If you are needy, you may see distance. But if you are clear, if you are balanced, you see a being who knows itself, who honors its boundaries, and who returns only when the moment is real. The cat does not force closeness, it allows it. And this is powerful. In the human world, so much of what we call love is entanglement. It is driven by fear, by expectation, by control. We want others to be near us not because we are whole, but because we are afraid to be alone. The cat is not afraid of solitude. It embraces it, it rests in it. And when it chooses to come close, it does so with authenticity, not compulsion. In the path of wisdom, this is what we strive for, not indifference but detachment, not absence but autonomy. The cat does not belong to anyone, and yet it offers companionship to those who respect its freedom. That is the paradox. The more you try to force a cat to stay, the more it will slip away. But when you let it be, it returns, of its own will, with no demand, no debt, and no drama. To be detached is not to stop caring. It is to care without confusion, without possessiveness, without fear. The cat may sit beside you for hours, silently, calmly, its warmth pressed against your side, and then suddenly it will get up and leave. Not because it loves you less, but because its spirit has shifted. It honors its inner compass more than it seeks to please. And that is not rudeness, it is clarity. What does this teach us? That love is not control, that presence is a gift, not a contract, that true connection flows from freedom, not from force. The cat is a master of this truth. It teaches us to love in a way that liberates, not limits, to be close without being clinging, to be warm without being needy, and to walk away without guilt when it is time to move on. Humans often struggle with this level of self-possession. We think that to love someone means to be always available, always sacrificing, always giving. But this often leads to burnout, resentment, and imbalance. The cat does not burn out. It does not overextend. It gives from a place of fullness, and when it needs rest, it takes it, without apology. This is wisdom in practice. This is emotional clarity. There is an elegance in detachment that is hard to describe, but you feel it when you're near a cat. It does not chase attention. It does not chase approval. It knows its worth. And because of this, its energy feels dignified, grounded, clean. You never feel drained after spending time with a cat because it does not take from you. It does not demand. It shares space. It allows connection, and it leaves when its soul whispers that the moment has passed. Imagine if more humans could live like this, giving love without losing themselves, connecting without collapsing, walking away without bitterness. This is not a cold way of living. It is a clear way. But clarity scares people who have built their identity on pleasing others. It threatens those who measure love by sacrifice alone. The cat is not interested in those measurements. It does not care for approval metrics. It exists outside the economy of validation. And so we come back to the beginning. The belief that cats are cold is not a truth about cats. It is a truth about human expectations. We want the world to confirm our beliefs. When it doesn't, we call it wrong. But sometimes, the challenge is the lesson. The cat challenges your assumptions about love, about presence, about freedom. And if you are open, it teaches you something profound. That the highest form of love is not to own or to need, but simply to be fully in your own energy while letting others do the same. There is a story told in many spiritual traditions of the sage who lives on the mountain, alone, silent, detached. People climb the mountain to visit him, to ask questions, to seek wisdom, and when they arrive, they find someone who does not try to impress them, who answers simply and sometimes not at all, who offers tea, then disappears. Some feel enlightened, others feel offended, but the sage does not change. He is not there to perform, he is there to be. The cat is that sage. It lives not to serve your ego, but to reflect your state of being. If you are needy, it withdraws. If you are calm, it approaches. If you are controlling, it escapes. If you are open, it rests beside you. It teaches without effort. It changes you without preaching. And in doing so, it reveals the gap between who you think you are and who you are willing to become. To love like a cat is to love from fullness, not from hunger. It is to approach relationships not as something you must capture, but something you must cherish while they last. It is to know that freedom is the foundation of real connection, and that detachment is not the absence of care, but the presence of deep self-respect. This is why the cat is not what you think. It does not lack feeling. It simply does not sacrifice truth for comfort. It does not pretend. It does not mask. It does not perform. And in that authenticity, it invites you to rise, not to control it, but to meet it, to match its clarity, to offer space, not suffocation, presence, not possession. And when you do, you are gifted with the softest purr, the gentle nudge, the quiet companionship of a soul that trusts without need. To live this way is to live with honor. To love this way is to love with depth. The cat shows us that detachment is not a wall, it is a window. Through it, we see ourselves more clearly. Through it, we learn to love without fear and to walk without chains. The lesson is there every time a cat chooses your lap, and then, without drama, chooses to leave. It does not mean it does not care. It means it trusts you enough to move freely. And perhaps that is the greatest form of love there is. Flexibility. This is a word we hear but rarely feel. We believe it belongs to the body alone, to muscles, joints, and limbs. But the cat reminds us, flexibility is not physical. It is a way of being. It is a philosophy. It is a state of mind that allows for adaptation, change, and resilience. And in this truth, the cat becomes not a pet, but a master, a teacher, a symbol of how to move through the world without being broken by it. Force is glorified in our culture. We are taught to push, to grind, to resist. We believe that strength lies in how hard we can go, how long we can endure, how many barriers we can break. But nature does not force. Water does not force. The wind does not force. They bend, they yield, they move around, not against. And yet, they shape mountains, carry seeds, transform landscapes. This is the strength the cat understands. Watch a cat fall. It does not panic. It does not flail. Its body twists in mid-air, adjusting, responding, recalibrating. And when it lands softly. Even from heights that would injure a harder, more rigid creature, the cat survives, even thrives, because of its ability to surrender and shift. This is not luck, this is design. This is wisdom in motion. The human spirit is not so different. We fall, we encounter the unexpected, we lose control. But unlike the cat, we often respond with tension. We resist, we hold on to how things should have been. We stiffen and we break. Why? Because we have confused strength with stubbornness. We have been told that to bend is to fail, to adapt is to be weak. But in truth, inflexibility is the true weakness, because it cannot survive change. The cat has no such confusion. It moves with the rhythm of reality. It does not argue with what is. If the path is blocked, it does not force through it. It climbs, it reroutes, it waits. There is no ego in its movement, only intelligence, only awareness, only harmony with the environment. In the martial arts, we say soft overcomes hard. This is not metaphor, it is observable truth. The most skilled practitioners do not use brute strength. They yield, they redirect, they move with the opponent, not against them. They become like the cat, supple, aware, fluid. A rigid punch is predictable. A flexible body is dangerous because you cannot trap what does not resist. Think of the bamboo. In storms, it bends while mighty oaks crack. Think of the river. It carves through stone not by force but by patience. Think of the cat, asleep on the ledge, its spine curled in effortless symmetry, ready to leap in an instant. This is power without tension. And this is what we forget, that we do not need to fight to be strong, we need to flow. Flexibility begins in the mind. A rigid mind cannot learn. It cannot see what is new. It clings to the old, to the familiar, to the false safety of certainty. But the cat does not live in memory or in projection. It lives in sensation. It responds to now. That is why it moves so perfectly, so quickly, so accurately, because it is not slowed down by resistance to reality. We, however, often fight the present moment. We tell ourselves stories about how things should be. We brace, we resist change. And then we wonder why we are exhausted. But life is not meant to be controlled, it is meant to be danced with. And the cat is always dancing. It does not move in straight lines. It spirals, curls, twists. Even in rest, it stretches with grace. Its body is in tune with nature. Not because it was trained, but because it never unlearned its instinct. How much of our suffering comes not from events, but from our refusal to adapt to them? We do not suffer because we fall. We suffer because we wanted not to fall. We suffer because we tense against what is already happening. The cat does not do this. If it slips, it flows. If it is dropped, it adjusts. If it is blocked, it shifts. There is no resistance in its spirit, only readiness. This is not a passive way to live. It is an active surrender, a conscious softening. To be flexible is not to give up. It is to give way. There is a difference. To give way is to allow movement. The cat gives way not because it is afraid, but because it is wise. It understands that the shortest path is not always straight, that survival is not about overpowering. It is about understanding. Even in play, the cat reveals this wisdom. Watch how it reacts to a moving string or a flickering shadow. It does not rush. It does not panic. It watches. It waits. Then it strikes, not with violence but with precision. And if it misses, it does not grow frustrated. It tries again, adjusting its angle, its timing, its approach. This is the mind of a true learner, flexible, curious, calm. And this is the spirit we must cultivate in ourselves. When things fall apart, when plans dissolve, when life takes a turn, do we clinch or do we breathe? Do we push harder or do we step back, observe and adjust? The cat reminds us, pushing is not always the answer. Sometimes stillness is. Sometimes a step to the side is more powerful than a step forward. There's an ancient principle in Taoist thought, Wu Wei, effortless action. Not action without effort, but effort that does not fight the flow. The cat lives in Wu Wei. It does not force rest or chase peace. It allows them. And because it does, it moves through life with an ease that humans often envy, but rarely understand. That ease is not laziness, it is mastery. Imagine a world where we taught children this kind of flexibility, where we praised adaptation over aggression, where we modeled resilience not as brute resistance, but as graceful responsiveness. Imagine if we trained our minds like the cat trains its body, through instinct, through repetition, through surrender to reality rather than opposition to it. We would live differently, we would suffer less, we would become more like the cat, nimble in difficulty, calm in chaos, alive in every moment. The cat does not speak, but it communicates. Every stretch, every leap, every pause is a lesson. It is not trying to teach. It simply is the teaching. And the teaching is this: the one who can bend will never break. The one who can yield will never fall far. The one who can relax, even under pressure, will always land on their feet. So, do not seek to be hard, seek to be true. Do not try to force your way through life. Feel your way. Listen. Adjust. Become like water. Become like the wind. Become like the cat. Supple, watchful, graceful. In a rigid world, flexibility is rebellion. And in a world obsessed with noise, the silent wisdom of the cat reminds us: move softly, but move wisely. And above all, stay loose in the face of uncertainty. Because those who can move with life will never be moved by it. Presence. In a world full of noise, speed and destruction, this simple word has become rare. People listen to respond, not to understand. They show up physically, but their minds wander. They speak, but they do not connect. And yet, at the heart of all genuine relationships, at the core of every sacred moment, is one essential ingredient: presence. Not performance, not perfection, just presence. And cats, more than most creatures, understand this without words. When a cat is with you, it is with you entirely. It is not worrying about yesterday. It is not planning tomorrow. It is not pretending. It is simply here. With its eyes, it watches you. With its body, it relaxes near you. With its breath, it reminds you that this moment is enough. It does not require anything of you. It does not judge you. It does not rush you. It does not compare you to someone else. It simply shares space with you, and in doing so, gives you a gift that is more precious than most of us realize. Presence is not loud. It is not showy. It is not something that demands attention. But you feel it when it is there, and you notice painfully when it is not. To be present with someone, truly present, is to say, in this moment there is nowhere else I need to be, nothing else I would rather do, no one else I am thinking about. Just you, just now, just this. How many people give us that? How often do we give it to others? The cat by its nature gives it fully. Not always, not constantly, but when it does so completely. It may curl up beside you, purring softly. It may sit silently nearby, eyes half closed. It may press its head gently against your hand, asking for touch, and then simply be with you. There are no words, no explanations, no performance. Just a presence that fills the space, as surely and gently as sunlight warms a room. We live in a world that undervalues presence. We reward productivity, not stillness. We measure attention in seconds, not in depth. We train our minds to jump, scroll, switch. But presence cannot be multitasked. It cannot be faked. You know when someone is really with you. You feel it in their breath, in their eyes, in their silence. And when it is absent, when the person in front of you is looking past you, waiting for you to finish, distracted by their own thoughts, the space feels hollow, the connection is lost. Cats do not do this. They do not rush you. They do not pretend to care when they do not. If a cat is not present, it leaves. It finds solitude. It returns only when it can return fully. This is not indifference. It is integrity. It is the refusal to offer half-hearted attention, the refusal to perform false intimacy. And when a cat does give you its presence, it does so without reservation. No timeline, no agenda, just presence. This is something we can learn. To be present is to be respectful. It is to honor the moment, the being in front of you and yourself. It is to say, this time matters. You matter. I will not dilute this moment with worry, comparison, or distraction. I am here. The cat teaches this by living it. It does not live in the past. It does not plan its future. It moves as it feels, sleeps when tired, hunts when alert, plays when curious. It does not apologize for needing rest. It does not fake energy. It does not feel. It honors each moment with its full being. That is presence, and that is power. When a cat rests, it rests. When it watches, it watches. When it walks, it walks. It does not divide its mind across 1,000 imagined problems. It does not scroll through regrets or run simulations of what might happen later. It inhabits the now, fully, deeply, honestly. That presence radiates. You can feel it when you share space with a cat. There is a calmness, a steadiness, an authenticity. It does not need to talk about presence. It is presence. Humans often struggle with this. Our minds are full. Our hearts are scattered. We are here in body but not in being. We check our phones while talking to friends. We eat while thinking about work. We sit with others but drift in our thoughts. We are rarely truly where we are. And so we miss the richness of now, the sacredness of what is right in front of us. But when you watch a cat, you see what it means to be. To be where your feet are, to breathe where your body is, to feel what is real instead of chasing what is not. This is not laziness, it is clarity. It is discipline, because to be present is not easy. It requires training. It requires letting go of control, of expectation, of distraction. Presence is the foundation of love. Without it, there is no connection. You cannot love someone you are not truly present with. You cannot grow something if you are not rooted. A gardener does not plant a tree and then forget to water it. They return again and again to care, to tend, to be present. The cat, in its quiet companionship, reminds us, just being with someone, really being, is sometimes the deepest form of care. Not fixing, not solving, not entertaining, just being, in silence, in stillness, in shared breath. This is why people often feel comforted by cats, even though they say cats are not emotional. Truth is, cats do not perform emotion the way we expect. They do not exaggerate affection, but they offer something deeper. Their full presence on their own terms. And when they do, we feel seen, even if no words are spoken. We feel safe, even if no promises are made. Because presence is safety. Presence is grounding. A cat may sit in your lap while you grieve. It may follow you from room to room while you are lonely. It may curl up beside you on a stormy night. It does not say anything, but it is something. It is there, fully. That is enough. That is everything. We as humans can learn to offer this to each other. We can learn to turn off the noise, to put down the need to fix, to stop rehearsing our responses, to just listen, to just look, to just breathe with another person. Presence does not mean solving every problem. It means not leaving each other alone inside of them. The cat teaches us this presence not just through companionship, but through its own solitude. When it withdraws, it does so fully. When it rests, it does not apologize. When it stares out the window, watching nothing and everything, it is not bored, it is attuned. It knows that every moment contains depth if you are willing to enter it. Even in movement, the cat remains present. It does not rush, it does not stumble, it does not panic. It moves with grace because it moves with awareness. Its paws know where they land, its body knows where it is in space. This is the fruit of presence. Precision, grace, timing. These are not accidents, they are the result of not being somewhere else. Imagine how our lives would change if we lived like that. If we moved through our days with full attention. If we gave our relationships the nourishment of presence instead of just attention. If we listened with our whole bodies. If we walked through our homes aware of every footstep. If we looked into someone's eyes and stayed there, without glancing away, without waiting to speak, just witnessing. Presence is not about doing more, it is about doing less but deeper. It is about cutting through distraction and touching the truth of a moment. It is not passive, it is active receptivity. It is the discipline of awareness. And it is the essence of reverence, because to be fully present with someone or something is to say, you matter. This matters. I see you. The cat never says these words, but it shows them over and over again in its silent companionship, in its quiet waiting, in its sudden, complete attention, in its ability to settle beside you as if time has stopped. And time does stop when we are present, because presence takes us out of the linear rush and into the sacred stillness of now. It reminds us that the only place life ever actually happens is here. Not in what we imagine, not in what we remember, but here, in this breath, in this room, in this gaze. The cat, without ever intending to, teaches us to return to this truth. Over and over again. It does not care about our stories, our timelines, our dramas. It cares about energy. It senses your state, not your words. It responds to how you are, not who you think you are. And that is why its presence can feel so healing, because it does not ask you to be anything else. It simply asks you to be. There is no judgment, there is no pressure, there is only a quiet invitation. Come back. Come back to the breath. Come back to the moment. Come back to the body. Come back to being. Presence is the highest form of respect, because it honors the reality of now. It honors the truth of another. It says, I will not look past you. I will not rush you. I will not distract myself from this moment we share. I will not assume that anything is more important than what is right here. Cats live this, not because they are trying to, but because they never unlearned it. They never left the now. They never forgot how to simply be. Perhaps that is their greatest teaching. And perhaps if we are quiet enough, still enough, humble enough, we can begin to remember too.